I hear my name being called. What is my name? Now, I used to be Maya Tompovsky of 29 St. Luke's Street, Leylands, Leeds. Former tailor's assistant, and now, Rifleman Maya Tompovsky, West Yorkshire Regiment. Prince of Wales's own, if you don't mind. Leeds Rifles, my battalion. I joined the West Yorkshires in 1916, aged 24. Wanted to do my bit, as so many other Jewish lads from the Leylands did. At first it were training, marching, then more training and more marching. When I had time, which wasn't often, I loved writing home. From somewhere in England. Dear parents, we are coming home on Passover for 8 days. That means a day's train ride. I don't know whether we have to pay our fare or not. I will get to know on Friday. I'm sending threepence for the kids. I will send the washing on, but don't send them back. Wait till I come home. I received the woodbines, but send me something to eat. And please send me a singlet with long sleeves. In the spring of 1917, my battalion finally set off for France. It was my first time on a ship, first time out of England. I was a little nervous, but I had my pals with me on board, Harry Harris and old Piggle. Dear parents, I'm going to tell you something that will make you interested, so you forget your troubles for a little while. Being my first time on a boat of any description, it seemed strange to me. Anyway, I got over that. I felt a little peckish, so I brought a few sandwiches and chocolate. We set sail in the evening. I was on deck with Harry Harris and Piggle, and as the boat glided along, we all looked back at the lights of England, where of course that was the only thing we could see. And then suddenly I found Harry looking at me. We exchanged glances, and I could see tears were in his eyes. That's the first time it took effect on the boys since we left camp. After an hour's run, the boat started to heave, and then the fun started. Everybody went white, including myself, and all made a dash for the deck. Most of the boys grabbed hold of the rails and started spewing. I started before I got to the top. What a night. I'll never forget, one lad was shouting, "Is there no mercy?" And to see Piggle in the closet, what a sight. You would have laughed to have seen him. I might tell you, I'm having a good laugh now. The 207th Battalion set off from Folkestone and arrived in Boulogne a few hours later. Somehow we managed to eat breakfast on the ship, and then it was welcome to France. We were greeted by snow, rain, and a 5-mile march. We wasn't half-licked, I can tell you. Well, after a few hours rest, we're off again. It's time for train ride. We got to the station, got into what the French call train. It's a goods wagon. On the outside it says Hommes 40, Cheval 8. That means 40 men and 8 horses. During the night we heard the sounds of the guns. We could even see the flashes of the guns. Most of us thought that we were getting a bit too near. After a long, tiresome journey, we got out of the train and we set off for a long march. We arrived at our destination being an old barn. We got some straw. Had to beg for it, of course. Make myself nice and comfortable. I went to bed, but impossible to sleep. Cold, and a draft coming in from the holes in the walls. Rats trying to nibble your feet. Still the rumbling of the guns. The lads of the Leeds Rifles spent their first few days in France training. And yes, more blinking marches, long uns. But then I saw something I never thought I'd see with my own eyes. we watch the Huns shelling our flying machines. It is a wonderful sight. But we can beat them at anything. So, what else was I up to in those first weeks in France? I have been at work a good few weeks without a stop. Been to a lot of small villages, riding in motor lorries, and seeing that things went the right way. You get some snap and look things over, making my plans for the following day. The following morning I start work with my party, carefully noticing my plans I've made out the day before, getting nicely along with the graft. Well, we all go back to work. Mind you, I said work, not play. Go hell for leather at it while dinner time. I go to bed thinking of home and somebody else. That someone else was Jenny, my sweetheart and fiancée. Anyway, she and my family were a bit worried when they heard I was in hospital. But they needn't have been. Dear parents, a few lines to let you know that I am in hospital. But by the time you get this, I shall probably be out. I've been in 5 days now. I took bad in the trenches. It's what the doctors call trench fever. I'm getting fine now. I'm in a spring bed with sheets. It's just like being at home. If only they would give me something to eat. I'm on a light diet now, with milk soup and bread, plenty of Epsom salts and pills. I get my meals brought to me. The doctors come and see me every day, gives the medicine and the pills and tells me to stop in bed for a few days. To tell you the truth, I didn't know there was such a place in France. I'll try to visit this place every time I feel tired. While I was in that field hospital, time seemed to stand still. Every day I'd wait for a letter from home to arrive, and if it didn't come, I'd get worried. Dear parents, I haven't had any letters for 6 days now. I think they are saving them for me at the battalion. You can still write. I believe it's my turn for leave when I come out of hospital, so you see, I shan't be long now. I hope Father is quite better now. My dad, Abraham Tompovsky, a tailor and leading light of the Garment Makers Union, he had bronchitis. So bad he couldn't get better. He died in January 1918, age 42. Now I was the head of the family, responsible for my mother, Annie, and 6 brothers and sisters. Head of the family. And stuck out here in bloody Picardy. Bloody France. Oh, and the bloody French. The French people. Now we are coming to it. All run what are known as cafes, selling everything at top price. Trying to get all the money Tommy has got. They say, a British Tommy has got plenty of money. Always greet you with, comment allez-vous, monsieur? That means, how are you getting on? Tommy replies, très bon. 1 packet of chocolate, please. Plonk goes 1 franc 40. That's 1 shilling in English money. For a piece of chocolate you can get in England for 6pence. Tommy eats his chocolate, says, bonjour, mademoiselle. Goes out all time swearing and cursing because he's been took on. Anyway, they don't get me, and a good few more who think they're a little too wise for the French people. One thing the French sell that we can't get enough of is news from home. It would happen most mornings. I hear the peculiar noise of the whistle. It's the Frenchman selling the Daily Mail. Everyone makes a dash for it, opening it out. Tommy shouts out with a smile on his face, "Great British victory! Capture of..." of wherever. Apart from my pals in the battalion, most from Leeds, good lads all, I'm getting acquainted with some Canadian soldiers. What a laugh they are. Always jolly good sports, spitting out their slang at top speed. For instance, if they want to tell me anything, they'll say, look here, I'm gonna tell you something right now and no bullshit. Always cussing and holy Jesus and God Almighty, all time trying to swallow their own tongues. But they are good lads, no mistake. You might ask us what we thought of our officers. Mostly good Yorkshire lads. I found that my officer was très bon. That means very good in French. Also got a good sergeant. I'm in charge of a party with full instructions, and my officer's coming down to see me, telling me this and that. And thinking that I'm quite reliable makes me Lance Corporal. Actually, they never got round to giving me a stripe. Never mind. Rifleman will do for Maya Tompovsky. By the way, it wasn't all marching and shooting out here in France. Dear Mother, I'm now going back on where I said I have always work. In the evening we have concerts to go to. Finding everybody enjoying themselves as much as possible. Chatting with friends they've not seen for months. And after the show criticising who was good and who wasn't. After arguing most of the night, I go to bed, ready to start work again. Getting nicely on. Talking of getting nicely on, I suppose I should tell you about the time I won the military medal. The MM, for bravery in the field. We'd just got back from leave in Leeds. We were in the village of Buckwoi. Jerry's front line was a half-mile away. We were going to push him back. Anyway, I wrote home to tell him what happened. Dear Mother, brothers and sisters. Well, I must thank you for your congratulations, but I am sorry to say they don't give leaves for the military medal. And as for doing my bit, well, I don't think I've finished it. It isn't a bit a man has to do here, it's a lump. So, you're proud of me just because I did my duty, like all the other boys did on that same day. Somebody happened to take an interest in me. Well, you're itching to know how I won my honour? No, I'm not afraid to tell you. It was just after I got back from leave that the Boche was getting restless. I thought to myself that I've just come back in the right time for a bit of a dust-up. So it happened that it was just as I expected. Of course you have read or heard about our retirement. Well, our lot did not retire. We were told to stand fast, as any man would do if he had a heart in him. This happened on the 24th of March. So we waited for the Boche until the following day, towards the afternoon. It was getting a bit too hot, and we expected the squarehead would be coming to us. I might tell you we hadn't to wait too long. Yes, he came over in full marching order, and he got a good reception. We pumped lead into him as fast as we could. A boy officer who was in my company got a bit excited, but I believe he quite enjoyed it. He kept running from one end of the company to the other, for what reason I don't know. Anyway, it quietened down for a short time. But it was that short we only just managed to get our rifles in good order when he attacked again. We were quite ready, as before, but the only one noticeable thing was this young officer shouting for the stretcher. Because I happened to turn around at the time, and I noticed that he'd been wounded through the muscle of his right arm. I saw that no stretcher bearers were available, so I took out my field dressing and I plugged it. I think you flattered me a little too much. Well, my dear sis, I haven't got the medal yet, but I'm forced to wear the ribbon. I expect they will make a ceremonial parade. The ribbon is blue at both ends, with narrow strips of white and red in between. I'll send the medal home when I get it. They think because you've got the MM you're some kind of hero. Not me. I'm just doing my bit. But to tell the truth, I was disappointed not to hear from Janie, my fiancée. I'm just thinking how my Janie feels about it. It's now 7 weeks since it happened, and I'm sure I forgot all about it. I fancy Janie must be vexed with me. I'm beginning to think that she's got the flu, or she's waiting while the war is over. All this makes me feel even more homesick. And to be honest, MM or no MM, I just can't wait for this war to be over and done with. Dear Mother, do you remember when I was on my last leave? I wasn't at all happy, because I was thinking of leaving home for a good while, and also leaving the country. We are having splendid weather, which makes one long for home all the more. Well, dear Mother, I can just fancy myself walking down St. Luke's Street for good, and then it would be a good time to talk about the Great War. Until then, we must hope for the best. Apart from Mother and Janie and all my Leyland's pals, of course I miss my sisters, Gertie and Mary. They'd send me photos. A few lines to let you know that I received your letter with Gertie and Mary's photos in. I think they are very nice indeed. I've shown them to the French people, who think they are wonderful. Yes, I told them you said there were no cats in France. They all had a good laugh. Pleased to have received your letter on the above date avec enclosed photo of Gertie, which I think is splendid. I am sorry for Mary's photo being spoiled, poor girl. She's like Janie, no luck for photos. It's generally the case, all nice-looking people break cameras. Oh, no, dear Gertie, I don't mean to say you're not nice-looking. I was also missing my little brothers, Abby and Yuddy. I wanted to hear from them. I needed to tell Abby to steer away from gambling. He's only 16. If I was worried about them, of course they were all much more worried about me. They needn't have been. We are well fed out here in France, and the pay's not bad. Better than home. Enough to send presents home to my little sisters, Annette and Millie. Well, dear Mother, I am also pleased that you received the £1 I sent you. I do wish I had more. I would gladly send it to you. No, dear Mother, I'm never without any money, so don't worry about that. I wish Annette well to wear those shoes, and I'll try my best for Millie. I'm all right. Nothing to grumble about. If we Tommies ever got down in the dumps, we'd cheer ourselves up with a good tune. I got this letter from Sister Gertie, and I replied, "You asked me if I know the song, Roses of Picardy." No, I don't know the song, but I've seen the wild rose grow on the Picardy battlefields. You might think that I'm spoofing, but it's true, nevertheless. Roses of Picardy. I should like to know the song. It must be a very touching song. The only song we sing is Pack Up Your Troubles, etc. And When You Come Home, Dear. All the old songs are sung out here. Well, I must close my letter with the best of love to all at home, from your ever-loving son, Maya. 12 kisses. A PS, I believe I could write you more, but I think it's quite enough. What do you say? A PS, when you send a letter, slip some Wrigley's chewing gum inside. Don't forget. It's September 1918, and we are getting ready for our last big push against the Kaiser's boys. We are ready to give him a good hiding. But to tell the truth, I just can't wait for this war to be over and done with. Well, dear mother, I am well and happy. I've got plenty to eat and drink, plenty of rest, so you see, I've nothing to grumble at. Except that I'm getting fed up with stopping in this country so long. The only way this war will finish is for something surprising to turn up. Anyway, let's hope so. And when the war is over, lots will say it's been a holiday. Of course, I don't mean for the poor infantryman. I mean for the thousands that's never seen the line. But everybody can't be lucky. I'm alright for a bit, yeah. And a possible chance of the war finishing within the next few weeks. What makes me say so is the opinion of all the French people. Yes, dear mother. It doesn't look as if there's a war on where I'm stopping. Everything in the garden is lovely. But plenty of rain in the last few days. September 1918. Plenty of rain. But it is now that our Allied armies are ready for our last big push against the Germans. Our job in the Leeds Rifles is to storm the Boches' Hindenburg line. Impregnable, they said. We'll see about that. Our battalion is to cross the front line at the Canal du Nord near Cambrai. Dawn on the 27th of September. We've left our camp. The Boche don't know what's going to hit them. Anyway, I hear my name being called. I have to go.